Hello and welcome to this presentation of our digital quality management system. In daily talk we call it the QPS. My name is Merete, and in the next approximate 20 minutes I will take you through these 5 modules of the system. Welcome. The QPS is, in addition to being short for Quality Process System, a setup that allows the company to manage and operate its quality and food safety system digitally. The QPS contains the planning and analysis, the quality control, the deviation handling, and the document management module. In the planning module, you create your flowchart, and there is a direct link from these flowcharts to the risk analysis, and with it, automatic generation of the hazard plan. Furthermore, the quality control with checklists and the smarter check types. I'll tell you more about that later. Further to deviation handling, both in relation to the quality control checklist and in general for the entire company, can be handled in the system. And of course, all the essential documentation can be created, managed, kept, and archived. Every time there is a change in a document, a check type, a checklist, and it is approved and released, the updated version immediately is accessible for the people who has access to the individual elements. By this, we reduce the risk or even eliminate it of finding old checklists and documents available in the production. The QPS is a standalone product, but every part of it can be integrated with the main Scanplan platform, which means that every reception of goods, every production order or packaging order can be connected to the quality checklist from the QPS. With all the data collected, and especially if it's linked together with other production data, it can be used with great conviction as a part of decision-making basis for the further work in the company. So, this was a little about what the QPS is overall, and I mentioned a few of the benefits from the program. From now on, I will take you through the modules one by one. Welcome. The planning module. The planning module is a drawing program where you, to start with, has to define your hazard process step in the factory, all your process step in the factory, including your input such as ingredients, excipients, supplies, water, gas, etc. After that, start creating the hazard flowchart with the drawing program. Just as I said, add a process step, give it a suitable name, description, make a connection, combine all the process steps. The process steps can be designed with colors and shapes right over here. You decide which color, which shape, which font, which size of the font, everything. You can create it whatever fits your company and create its own expression. Beneath that, there is the process description. This is where you can create an individual process description for each process step, which can be seen as beneficial for the subsequent risk factor analysis. So, in the middle of the screen, beneath process step number 2 and process step number 4, there is a green mark with a PRP in it. These buttons, or whatever you call it, has been created from the countermeasures in the risk factor analysis, and thus shows that there is a defined prerequisite program as control for these process steps, and it is presented with these marks on the flowchart. Once the flow showing all process steps is created, It can be saved as an image by clicking the upper part of the page, print it out, and be taken into the production so that the necessary on-site verification can be carried out. Afterwards, the flowchart can be uploaded to the document management where it is ready to be approved and published. From the flowchart, you can make a right click to get further into your analysis. You can right click on the process step, or you can choose to enter the risk analysis in the menu in the left side of the screen. After all, the risk analysis is the foundation, the background for the entire checklist setup and for the entire hazard system. Why this is so important to present here. Although for some it is probably not the most exciting thing. However, I would like to highlight a few advantages. When creating the analysis, you will be guided through all the steps. Instead of simply giving a heading to the individual parts, there is an elaboration, such as describe who or what causes the hazard, or in which process step is this hazard introduced. Describe who or what causes the danger and how it occurs, and so on. Also, in addition to the biological, the chemical, the physical, and the allergenic type, we also filled in the food fraud and the malicious intent as a food hazard type, as we know that these topics are also ones we need to deal with in our food safety management system. Yes, before carrying out all the risk analysis is started, there is an opportunity to set up your risk matrix. This one is 4x4, but you can make it 3x3 or 5x5 if that suits your system even better. As regards to the risk assessment itself, the decision tree from the codex, it's not implemented here, but you can, for example, upload it to the document management, and it can be used as a background to decide where on the risk matrix the cross should be placed. In the right side of this screen, we have our countermeasure. It is now that the green mark, as we had before, can be green, blue, or red. Either it is a PRP, an OPRP, or an CCP. You choose the type in the countermeasure. So this is where this mark is born. And also want to highlight the check type, which is a part of this countermeasure. This is where there really is something to be gained in the terms of number of documents required in the food safety system. It is often the case that the same type of check must be carried out in several places in the production. At this point, a check type can be reused in multiple checklists. This means fewer documents to keep track of, a clear advantage. The check type is the basis for the controls collected on the checklist. When a check type is updated and approved, it is immediately available for the operator in the production. So let's go on to actually the check types. The QPS consists of two parts of system. There is one we call it the office system, and the other part is the process system. This one is the office system. This is where you create and maintain your food safety system. But this check type It consists from a critical limit, which are the value that must be achieved to ensure the food safety. In this example, the limit is okay, not okay. There are also a method definition in the middle to describe what must be done to perform the control correctly and adequately. You find a list of observed items, which is a list given to the operator when filling out the checklists. These are mostly for later statistics and as input to the management review, but you can also use it to sort if there is any deviations. Then there is a list of corrective actions, also available to be used when you're filling out the control and used just in case of deviations. In the top of the screen, there is a must be read before point. By choosing this small box, a calendar menu will appear. At this point, it is possible to set a closing line for filling out checklists without reading the instruction. If the operator has not read the instruction before this date, he or she will not be able to register the checks in the system. This is a way to make sure that our operating staff is always updated with the important information from the instruction. In the right side of the screen, there is the all approve and release menu. It shows historical versions and information like whom is responsible for this check time and who is the approver. Immediately after a immediately after the check type is approved and released, it is precisely this which will be used when filling in the checklists. So, I think we take it further over to the quality control, and which is the third module in the system. And here we also back in the office module to create checklist. The checklist is, as I said, a collection of control questions, each of which has an underlying check type. This is how it's shown in the back office part of the program, which is office, which I just said. This is where you create and maintain your checklists, or your check types, or your document management, stuff like that. It is also here where you do your subsequent changes and updates later on. Yes. Besides your control question, which are down here, the checklist can be addressed with one or two registration contexts. The registration context is in this case a lot number. It could otherwise be a batch number, a department number, or a sales number, anything to recognize this delivery of goods in this case. The checklist is related to the goods reception. This checklist is related to the goods reception. And we would like to know actually the lot number when the goods quality is to be registered. If your company run the scan plant processing system, for example, for the goods reception and or the processing of semi-finished goods, it is possible to fetch these registration contexts from the factory MES system or from the ERP system, if it is integrated with scan plant. If you do so, the traceability is kept with both the goods, the processing, and the quality control. When creating the checklists, it is possible to set up hours on job list. It is right here For now it is 24 hours on job list. This means when the time is up, the checklist will not be available to fill out. Instead, it will appear as expired on the checklist on job list in the Office module. The job list is available for the operating staff in the operating part of the system, the process. Actually, I will tell you that one of our customers brought this part to next level, and they actually receive a text message on their cell phones when a checklist has expired. In that way, they can react immediately to correct any missing checkpoints and reduce the risk of withdrawals or recalls. So, just saying. Okay, this is the same checklist as shown before. This is when it's ready for the operating staff to fill out the questions on the control station in the factory environment. So this is our process part of this program. So the log number, as we talked about before, is located in the right side of the screen, and it is shown with the red "This is required to fill out" mark. This means that it is not possible to register without typing the lot number, or maybe choose it from a list if you have the integration to this compound processing system. Okay, this one, goods receipt. The vehicle which is carrying these goods to be delivered cannot be approved. The vehicle emits an ugly odor as to be investigated. This is why the goods are put in quarantine as described. So, if this is not okay, I put in my observation point, the vehicle emits an ugly odor. My correction, this time, put the goods in quarantine. But actually, in the right side, today's earlier registration are listed. None of them could be approved. All this registration can be seen immediately in the registration overview in the Office program. I will show you that in a few minutes, but this is how it looks like for the operating staff. Shown in the picture is a complete list of all checklists created in the system. It can turn out to be a lot of lists, and that is why tags is a smart feature. So you can press the small tag button, and when you do so, we have created a number of tags in the Office program. Whenever you choose a tag, in this time I chosen the receipt. My only checklist with tag receipt is goods received. So the tag offers the possibility to sort through the checklists and display only maybe 5 or 8 relevant lists that for this particular operator must complete. You can also use the search field and write everything from the title, the name of the instruction to search. But I think we go on to the registrations. The registration overview is where to stay updated to ensure that everything is as expected in terms of quality registration. So, this is how it looks like. When today's job is done, or while it's going on, the registrations is listed as shown. The records shown in red contain checkpoints with deviant records. If you mark the field show only registration with critical limits, which is up here, you make a sort and display only the checklists that contain a deviant record, Sometimes it can be seen as an advantage to sort in the overview and show only the relevant checklists. In the upper part of the screen, the list of performed checklists is shown, while the lower part of the screen is showing the concrete checklist with control points and which of the control points were deviant. As part of the displayed checklist, important information about name and version of the checklist, as well as the time when it was registered and completed, also follows. It is right here. So, the manager can follow the production, the quality registrations in real time, and can easily follow up on yesterday's work. If there is any deviant registration, you can react immediately. You can acknowledge the deviation by clicking the button Acknowledge. Then the line containing information from the particular checklist in the upper part of the screen turn green. You can see I have just done it here with this checklist called Check Cleaning Before Startup. There is a deviant registration, but I have acknowledged it. You still can create a non-conformity report directly from this list. So, of course you can create a report manually, but not only from the registration list. So, I think I will go further to the fourth module, the deviation handling. And the deviation looks like this when it is created. You can create a deviation directly from the records with exceeded critical limits, or you can create a deviation that is not related to the production checklists. Others use the deviation module for customer complaints actually. Master data such as customers, products, departments, etc. can be created in Scanplant, but it can also be imported from the ERP system into the Scanplant. In the catalog menu over here, a catalog of error codes and disposition codes is created. When a deviation is created, a unique number is automatically generated, and there is of course option to attach files and pictures, stuff like that. It is possible to add email notification when a new person is put in as a responsible for the next step in the deviation. So, whenever you have a new responsible put in the deviation, this guy will receive an email which tells them, now you need to do something about this deviation. You have your root cause and your corrective action in the bottom of the screen, and this is created directly from the deviation. If we have our integration to the ERP system, we have the possibility to put in every cost, financial stuff in here, and also whenever it's put together with your product catalog. Yes. The last part of the QPS system is the document management. The document management is born with two folders, the document folder and the instruction for check types. In the instruction folder, the system places all instructions from the check types that has been created. They are placed in alphabetical order, but this can be changed subsequently. And the number of subfolders that seems necessary can be created. The system has no limits for this. The document folder is empty when you starting the system, but can be filled in with the overall document in its management system. And again, the number of subfolders are relevant, can be created and named according to the company's wishes. And the number of the system, there is no limit for the number of folders. The naming could, for example, be the heading that match the standard that the company is or wants to be certified to. So, by using the tags, edit tag, the tag up here, you can, for example, write which requirement the standard, the individual document supports. You can also put in a department, an operating procedure, stuff like that. Although you can use it to sort and find your relevant documentation when you need it. Your instructions can be linked, copy, link. They can be linked together, maybe to an overall procedure, so that all the required documentation is linked together. And again, each time a document or instruction is created or adjusted, it must go through the approve and release procedure. This one over in the right side. The entire history with the current and old versions. The old versions can of course be called off if desired. And every time a document is approved and released, it is the one which is current. So the approval procedure right here. Here is where you choose the approver and maybe a co-approver. Submit for approval. Below this, you have your last approve release procedure. Here is the document approved. Beforehand, a notification can be set for you to the expiry of the document, which can also be set as you wish. It is set to 1 year by default, but you can always change it. So, I think that is everything I will tell you about this document management system. And actually, everything that I had to tell you about the QPS system. If you want to know any more, please don't hesitate to get back to me. I will be gladly to tell you more about this system. So, thank you for listening for now. Have a nice day.